Okay, so shalom, right? So listen, this message is going to be relatively quick, right? But this message is going to be powerful. Now, I want you to listen real carefully, right? I want to start off with Ephesians 5:15 and 16. This is Paul talking. This is Ephesians 5:15 and 16. Listen carefully. Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of your time, because the days are evil. So, I want you all to understand right now that us, as really pretty much as human beings, everybody has to make good use of their time, right? But as black folk, it's essential that we make really good use of our time. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to this message because it's swift but it's powerful, right? Now, me personally, right now, I'm doing the best with my time as possible. But of course, as you know, Satan is constantly at work as well. And I need y'all to know something very, very importantly, right? The things that are going on are more than meets the eye. Okay? So it seems like anyone that might be attacking a messenger of Yahuwah, anyone that might be attacking a messenger of Yahuwah, you might have to understand, in many cases, they could be offered money. Okay? I just wanted to throw that out there. It's more than meets the eye to many of these things. Okay? So, narrowing down to the message, however, everybody has 24 hours in their day. Every individual on this planet has 24 hours in their day. Nobody got 25, nobody got 23, everybody got 24, right? Because we're all pretty much living in the same times, right? Well, I want you all to understand something, right? The times that we're going into now, I keep telling y'all over and over and over and over again. And many of you, for some reason, you can't listen. And one purpose is because of the destructive heresies and the hypocrisies that are going on, not just in congregations, but on social media and politics, and even among celebrities, and even among sports. There's a lot of things out here that sway the minds of the simple. Now, I know many of you are about to get angry about this, but the majority of you are very simple-minded. It's just true. The reason is because you lose focus of the Word of God, and you don't comprehend spiritual things. And this is what makes many of you very upset. Okay? But instead of being upset, you should be very afraid. Because if you're not able to comprehend spiritual things, you might not be a child of Yahuwah. Many of you have no idea the magnitude of the times that we're in right now. So I just want to let you all know that every little second of your time, every little second of your 24 hours right now, it counts. Are you putting it toward your career? Or are you putting it toward your family? Are you putting it toward your Elohim? Are you putting it toward preparation? Are you putting it toward your body? Are you putting it toward worship? Well, I already said that, right? What is it exactly that you're doing? Because we have to understand that if we're idling our time, we're thinking about wickedness. Okay? So, look carefully, okay? Then how you walk. Look carefully how all of you are spending your 24 hours. You really need to sit down and think about this. How carefully are you spending your 24 hours? Not as unwise, but as wise. Making the best use of your time. So many of you need to understand that you shouldn't be spending any time of your day as being unwise, as being stupid, as really having nothing to do. Pay attention. Pay attention to where I'm going with this. Why should we make the best use of our time? Because the days are evil. Because Christ is about to start. He's already judging, but he's about to turn up the heat. Now, a lot of y'all, I understand in many of your defense why these messages seem really like pieces, really like nothing. Why these messages seem corny, and in many cases why these messages lack respect. See, you have to understand that this is what every single prophet and apostle went through. The messages being brought to naught or being brought to none effect because of many of your disbelief, because of your carnal ways, and because of your so-called quote-unquote culture. Your culture is a piece of shit that you all have adapted. You black folks, you think you're so cool in your culture, but your culture is what is the corny thing, because your culture is going to get so many of you destroyed, and it's going to get so many of you the second death because of your culture. Many of you walk around and you always try to be cool and be swaggy and do all of these things, but you lack true understanding and you lack true discernment. So now, don't get me wrong. Some of you, you're spending a lot of your time working. Some of you spend a lot of your time with your families. Some of you spend a lot of your time in your word, whether it be the Bible or the Quran or the Talmud. Even though only one of those books stand firm and concrete, at least if you're studying the other books, at least you think that you're putting some good time into your 24 hours. At least you mean well. I want to go to Matthew 12 really quick, right? Either make the tree good and his fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and his fruit corrupt. The tree is known by his fruit. So what many of you need to understand, and I'm speaking to everybody, but specifically my Negroes, what many of us need to understand is what type of tree are you going to be here in these last days? That the Spirit of Christ is in the midst of our people and is about to do some of y'all dirty, are you going to be a good fruit and bear? Are you going to be a tree that bears good fruit? Or are you going to be a tree that bears rotten fruit? So if every person is represented as a tree, what type of tree are you going to present yourself in these last days? If you present yourself as somebody who's fruitful, and I don't want to use the word positive, because the word positive gets thrown around too loosely, and many of you don't quite understand the word positive. Well, I want to rephrase that. That English shit, now I'm speaking in English, but remember, when I'm talking, when I say these things, I'm talking about the concept in which that English word is understood. I'm not talking about the fact that it's actually in English, because you have to understand that every concept of every word comes from the Hebraic perspective. All the languages and everything, and all the perspectives and understandings and the definitions of the English, of the Arabic, of the Chinese, of the Japanese, of the British, all of these things, Pashwa, whatever so-called tongue you speak, they all derive from Hebrew. They all derive from the understanding of God. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So we don't want to get into words like positive and negative, because there are people that think they're positive and negative, and people that are negative and think they're positive. And there's just, with this English language, it doesn't act along with the thinking of Elohim. So if you're a righteous, or if you're a set apart person, you have to understand you're going to bear good fruit. But if you are a reprobate and you have a wicked mind of disbelief, then you're going to bear bad fruit. So I want you all to understand how dangerous this is in the last days. And many of you have no idea. So what's going to happen is, because that many of you won't repent, Christ is going to send some alarms. Now, I want y'all to understand something, right? Because he's going to say, this is Christ talking. And I want you all to understand that he's talking to black people. Who is Christ speaking to right now? He's speaking to the Negroes, just like the Negroes that are over here in America right now. Okay? Whether you be Jamaican, whether you be Dominican, whether you be Haitian, West Indian, or whether you be just an American Negro from the hood. We're all the same people. In many cases, some of us will be from the tribe of Benjamin, but in a lot of cases, even from the Caribbean diaspora, many of us would be from the tribe of Judah. So, what I need you all to understand, right? Listen to what Christ says after he does this, after he says this. He says, either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by its fruit. O generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the mind, the mouth speaketh. So, what I want you all to understand is it doesn't matter what you all do. It doesn't matter how you all attempt to portray yourself, both men and women. If you do something corrupt, it's out of the mind. If you do something that's good, it's out of the mind. Whatever fruit that you pass on, it's from the mind. So, let's not get it twisted, right? If you drop your sandwich on the ground, you pick your sandwich up and you eat it, is that going to defile you? If you don't wash your hands before, then you should. Well, I mean, it's not a bad practice, right? So right before you sit down and you bust your grub, you walk over to the sink, you wash your hands, right? And you eat. But if you chose not to wash your hands, would that corrupt you? No, it wouldn't corrupt you. Because corruption starts at the mind. Corruption is of the mind. So what we have to understand is the things that we put into our bodies, we shit it out. But what comes out of our mouth and what comes out from off of our tongue is our wicked imaginations and thoughts. And that comes from the mind. And either your thoughts or the things that you say, either they're going to bear good fruit or they're going to bear wicked fruit. For those of you who are bearing good fruit, then you will reap the judgment from good fruit, because judgment is good and bad. And for those who bear bad fruit, then you reap the judgment of that. So we have to be very careful on how we use our time as a black people. Because first, we're going to see things, if we haven't already seen enough things happening, we're first going to see things happen amongst this people. For he must first judge the house of Israel before he judges the other nations in their entirety. Okay? So, he's going to say, "Oh, you generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things?" So, this people here today, us Israelites, Christ called, well, he's talking to the generation then, but see, you have to understand how the Bible works. These wicked generations keep being recycled. That's the reason why you see these young boys out here still slaughtering one another and all of these things. You still see these things happening because our wickedness is recycling itself. It's wicked nigger after wicked nigger that come out of the womb of Negro women. And we continue on in our disgrace to ourselves by constantly destroying ourselves from within, making us an easy target for the trouble that's about to come to us. We're going to be so busy despising one another. And make no mistake about it, those of you out there who are despising your brothers, you will be made a very, very excellent example. Because the times are evil. We can't escape the times. We can't escape the things that are going to happen. Any of us. All we can do is prepare and try our best to bear good fruit, to keep the commandments, and if you keep the faith in Yahushua HaMashiach, if you make yourself a trustee of Christ, then you'll automatically be taken like clay and molded to keep the commandments. And as you do that, then you will automatically, once you're keeping the commandments, you're going to automatically bear good fruit. But for those of you who despise the good fruit, then you already know what situation, you already know what type of people you are. So he's going to say, O you generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of your mind, the mouth speaketh. So you speaketh how you think. You speak of your thoughts and your imagination. That is corruption. And then he's going to say, a good man out of the good treasure of the mind bringeth forth good things. And evil people out of the evil treasure of their heart, out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. But I say unto you, that now this is the purpose of the message right here. Christ is going to say, but I say unto you, every idle word that you say, you will be held accountable for. Everything that we say, we will be held accountable for. Now, first we have to understand the danger of the tongue. We have to understand the danger of the tongue. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm going to get back to that in a minute because I actually didn't have that written down, right? Because let me tell you what I've been doing with my time, right? I've been taking my time, and well, I don't really have to tell you all what I've been doing with my time, but I haven't been sitting idle. Okay? That's one thing I haven't been doing. Now, I want to see something here. That's Matthew 12. Right? We want to go to the word idle. Okay, so if you look up the word idle in the Greek, right? It is argos, right? I want you all to understand what the word idle means. Now, right here is going to say as a negative particle. It's going to say the word idle means inactive. It also means unemployed. It also means useless or barren. So it's funny. So the word idle, it means unemployed, useless, right? It means you're just at a stalemate. Now there's many reasons why people can be idle. Now, we've all been there, right? But whether it's in ourselves as people or just in our lives. But You have to understand that when you're wasting your time doing nothing, or if you're wasting your time concerning yourself about everything else but yourself, you begin to think evil thoughts. I see this happening all around the neighborhoods. Okay, I'll be back.